Resin clay project. I think I'm in love with this one, folks. I think I'm in love. I'm actually going to be making 3 things from this, so hold on to your seats, folks. We're about to have a bumpy fun ride. I will be making a teardrop Skinner blend. I haven't made a Skinner blend in a while, so I thought I would do that. So I have my 3 pieces here. Just gonna roll them out. And then, of course, I'm going to pick out 3 colors that sing to my heart. And these are the ones I chose. I kind of wanted them to be all the same color. So I know these are purple, but they actually come out blue when you bake them. So it comes out really nice. And then I really love this sky color. I wanted a lighter blue color. I didn't want anything crazy dark. So I put just a little bit of ink on each of these. And then I'm kind of just smearing it out so that it will dry and I can get them all nice and mixed up. Now, I actually came across this idea when I was looking through YouTube. And there is a very popular polymer clay artist called Jessama Tutorials. And I will leave a link for her video below. I actually didn't watch the video. How I came across this was I saw the thumbnail and was like, you know what, I could probably make this. So I gave it a shot and I think it came out pretty similar. I really need to go back and watch her video. I just really enjoyed the thumbnail. So anyway, I want to give her credit because this wasn't necessarily my idea. So I have my colors mixed and you can make these as light or as dark as you want them to be. And then you need to decide like in what order you want to put your colors. So if you want it to go purple, purple, blue, or the dark purple, light purple, blue, or put the blue in the middle, or however you want to do it, you kind of have to just decide what you want to be done. And also, when you put them together and you put them through the pasta machine, or if you're doing it by hand, the 2 colors that are beside each other are going to mix. So you got to take that into consideration. They will make their own color, kind of. So these are very similar colors, so it's not really like a huge deal, but if you wanted to do something a little different, maybe like a yellow, blue, and a purple, or a yellow, blue, and an orange, when you put them together, it's kind of going to make colors in between there. So just keep that in mind. And you do want them to be relatively the same size, so as hard as it is to get them the same size, you're just going to have to kind of remove clay if 1 or 2 of them are bigger than the other ones. So I had to kind of adjust the 2. And I still think the purple one on the far right is a little too big, but it's fine. I'll work with it. So just put them in the order you want them to be, and then kind of smush them down a little bit. And this really isn't a tutorial for how to make a Skinner blend. I have actually done that, and there are tons of videos out there on how to make a Skinner blend. So this one is my favorite. As far as being able to like control all the colors together, I don't know. I've done it the other way where you cut it into like triangles and put it together. I just can't. Find the way that works best for you. Look at other videos, try it, and then that's basically how you're gonna come to realize which one you like the best. This is my Skinner blend. Of course, you keep blending yours until it's as blended as you want. But we are gonna roll this up and you're not gonna be able to like see a really stark difference. So I don't mind that the purple is not quite as faded into the blue. I think it looks fine. You mix yours as much as you want to though. And I do need to thin it out just a little bit. You don't want it to be super wide because you're gonna roll it up. So you don't want like a huge roll. So this is like a pretty good, it's like a rectangle, I guess, like a small rectangle. I'm going to use white paint. You can use whatever color you want. It depends on the colors that you chose. Just choose something that's going to kind of stand out just a little bit, because this is going to be what causes the difference when you roll it up. So you're going to have like a little swirl pattern. I'm just using white. You can use whatever you want. And just a thin layer will do. Put it on there. I'm just using my finger to kind of smear it around. And it's going to kind of peel up a little bit as we go, so it doesn't need to be perfect, folks. Just get a nice thin base coat on there. Once you have it all kind of smoothed out, not like a large clump anywhere, just let it dry. Give it 5-10 minutes, depends on your paint and the quality of your paint. It'll dictate how long it's going to take to dry. So this is pretty good. I'm going to flip it over. If you want, you can flip it over and put it on a piece of paper. It's going to cause it to not stick. So I put mine on my ceramic tile and it did stick a little bit, so it kind of pulled up the paint in some areas. Not worried about it. See? You'll see it there. It comes out fine. It doesn't make a huge difference. But if for some reason you're kind of one of those people, it needs to be perfect as you go, just put it on a piece of paper. I'm just going to trim up the 2 long ends. I'm leaving the short ends because once I roll it up, I'm going to cut those off anyway. So it's not going to matter. They're scraps anyway, so I don't need to cut any more off now. But I do want the other 2 long ends to be pretty evened up because that's going to show up in the roll. The paint is going to cause the clay to not stick. So I'm putting a very thin layer of Bacon Bond on there. You can try to do without it if you don't have Bacon Bond. You can totally do that. But it's just going to make it a lot easier and get things to stick and get the ball rolling, so to speak. And the hardest part about this is really trying to get that very first little itty bitty roll lip coming up. So you can use the side of your blade and kind of just use it to kind of roll it up a little bit and get it started. But you don't want it to be like a huge roll in the beginning. You kind of want it to progress. So just get that started there. I'm using my fingers. You can use the side of your blade and continue to roll it up if you want to. And don't press down as you go because it's going to stick to your tile surface. You can also do this on paper if you want. Just put something underneath it, whatever you want to do. But it's going to kind of stick to your tile. If not, and it'll start pulling up the paint. So I'm just kind of rolling and lifting up as I go so that I'm making sure it's not sticking, because it's also causing the clay to pull up with it because of the paint on the outside. I hope all that made sense. Just roll it up the best you can. Okay. And then when you get to the end, you can just kind of use your fingers to smooth it out and then finish rolling it with your fingers. I'm just making sure it's nice and flush, or as flush as possible. That way there's not like a huge gap and it's going to be easier to roll and get it kind of smoothed out. So you got to use the tools you were given, right? And your fingers are some of those tools. Okay, and now, like I was saying earlier, this is where you're going to cut off your messy ends and just keep cutting until you have your swirl pattern and it's undisturbed and it's just kind of perfect and beautiful. Look at that. I just love the way it looks. I just love swirls. I do a lot of swirly patterns in my stuff. Over the years, I've done that. Oh my gosh, I think I've been on YouTube for like 3 years now, since 2020, and it's 2023, the end of 2023 right now. Holy moly. Actually, once you see this video, it's probably going to be the beginning of 2024. I'm getting ahead on my filming. I'm quite proud of that. I rolled out a little bit more translucent clay. Just need a little small piece. And this is going to be the backing for my translucent clay. I'm going to be using this yellow color. Just put as much as you want on your clay. It don't matter. Just put as much as you want. As much as it'll take. You could do it. You could do any color you wanted to, by the way. But I do recommend using a lighter color. That's just me. And the thumbnail that I saw that inspired this, it looked like she used a lighter color in the background, and it was a yellow color, so I don't know. I need to go back and watch the video. Like I said, this was all inspired by her thumbnail, so she could have done all this. I have no idea. And then I did put this in the freezer because, well, it was a little bit warm. So just put it in there, get it nice and firm, and then you can start cutting off thin layers. If for some reason you can't get it to cut thinner layers, you can cut a larger chunk. So just cut a larger piece, and then you can kind of smush it between your fingers. You're just gonna have a larger circle onto your clay. So it's totally up to you. I personally like the smaller circles too, because I feel like it gives it more of a pattern. Whatever you want to do. I'm gonna start in the middle because that is what made most sense to me, so that you can kind of radiate out instead of starting randomly somewhere or starting at the top or the bottom and just kind of building on. And you can decide if you want to overlap it. I think that would be pretty and it would add a lot of depth and dimension to your piece. But I am just going to kind of put them side by side. And since these are circle pieces, you're going to have little gaps in between where the yellow is going to come and pop up. And I think that it comes out pretty that way. If you wanted to, you could make this into a square so that they all fit on there perfectly, but once you get it all rolled out and burnished, you're gonna like it. It's not gonna be noticeable, and it's not gonna look weird or out of place. So just put them as close as you can. I'm not trying to make a huge gap in between there so that like a huge gap of yellow's in there, but you'll see some of the little pieces of yellow poking in there, popping out, but it's all good. I used about half of that, so I'm going to save that other half, and we're going to do another project here very shortly. A very quick project. It kind of looks like peacock feathers, like the colors of peacock feathers to me. I don't know. I quite enjoy the way this came out, by the way. Just kind of stretch it out a little bit so you can get the color showing through, and you do still want to keep it at a good thickness so that you can cut it. If for some reason you made yours super thin, just fold it over on itself, and then the front and the back will be the same. It's all good. Nothing is wasted here. And since I have a really small piece, I do need to make sure that I have enough before I start cutting things out. I'm planning ahead, folks. It's all about planning. So I am going to do something I don't normally do and kind of show you how I'm cutting things out here. Usually I kind of just tell you to cut out and do whatever. You do you. I've never really quite understood that saying, but you know, it fits in this moment, I guess. And then just cut out your circles. I am going to use a piece of plastic because I do want the outsides to be domed, and that way I don't have to worry about perfecting the entire outside of the piece. Like, this is going to perfect it for me. So, and I usually do use paper cutters. So in this instance, I'm going to be using some metal cutters. I was in a circle mood, I guess, today. So I'm going to cut out my large circle, and I'll do that for, of course, both pieces. This is going to be an earring set, and I'm just going to spoil it for you. I just loved how it came out. And then if you have little shavings or whatnot, you can use your side of your blade to kind of perfect it. And no matter what you do, I don't think you could ever get a perfect circle. Like, even with the cutters, it still just doesn't come out perfect. Anyway, and then I'm going to use this little circle cutter to make a smaller cut in the middle. You gotta just decide if you want it like at the top or in the middle. So you can use the plastic if you want for the center, but I feel like it messes things up. It puts little wrinkles in the clay, and it makes the outside come out all wonky, and I can never get it in the center. I just prefer the centerpiece to be cut out without the plastic. And then if I want to, I can just use my fingers and smooth it out if I feel like it's too jagged, but it really comes out fine. So you'll see there, you can perfect your little cutout piece. For some reason, if you know your little metal cutters have that little notch in it that kind of makes a little mark in there, which mine do, you can just use your finger to kind of perfect it. It's really easy peasy this way. And then just you can do the front and the back and roll it and make it beautiful and pretty. I really liked the way this piece came out. Did I mention that? And then of course just make your little poke marks in there for your hanging findings. And I generally do this before I bake. I don't really show that a lot, but I have done it afterwards. It depends on what I'm making. Like, this is kind of a thinner piece, so I wouldn't use a drill tool because it's gonna mess it up. It's gonna bust your clay. So I'm doing it before and it comes out fine. Just be sure that your pieces are all lined up however you want them to set, and how you want your circles to look and all that stuff. And then I have the scraps. And I'll show you how everything comes out at the end, but just really simple with the scraps. I took the flat pieces and put it on the bottom, and then took all the little cuts that I had made and put it on top. And then I'm going to roll it. I really like the way this comes out because it gives this piece so much dimension. With each layer you put on there, you can kind of see the pieces behind it, and it just gives it like a 3D kind of a look. I am running it through my pasta machine a couple of times to get it kind of smoothed out and everything together. I'm showing you how many times I do it so you can kind of see after each time you run it through. Eventually you're going to have mud, so obviously don't run it through the pasta machine. If you're just like, this is it, I run it one more time, it's going to become mud, just stop. Just breaking off some pieces here so that it's going to come out more of a squarish kind of a shape is what I was hoping for. It still came out wonky. If I would have done this anymore, I'm pretty sure it would have just started streaking and you would lose any of the little design element that was still in there. So you kind of just got to play with it. But this is a really pretty way to use up your scraps. And then this is the tube that I have left. This is half of it. Or this is the second half that I didn't use. I'm going to cut it into thicker chunks than I did before. So I just kind of measured it a little bit so I could see how many I was getting before I made the cuts. And just like I was kind of describing earlier, I'm going to use my finger to flatten it. So you're going to get wider circles, which is fine because this is scrap, so I really like how it came out. I'm actually fond of making 3 pieces. I'm actually really fond of it. So just put those on there, and I didn't have quite enough. You'll see down there on the bottom right that it's just the clay from before. So it's okay though. I actually made a piece with that. You don't have to if you want to, just cut it off if you don't like it. The back is really pretty. I love it. I was like, I was just torn between which one I wanted to do. And of course you could make a double-sided piece if you want. And I love that idea and that concept. So you're feeling in this mood one day and that mood the next day, you can kind of flip it over and, it's kind of fun. So I did cut out a circle right there like that. And this is the leftovers. So I decided to go ahead and make something with that back. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did. It is so pretty. It very much looks like a faux, like, quartz stone, like a colored quartz stone. I really love it. And I'm using my mold cutter for that. All right, so these are the pieces and they are in order. So this is the first one I made with the yellow backing and the little circly doodads on the front there. I'm in love with this piece. I don't know. There's just something so fun about it. It's so me. And I love the plaquing on the back. Some people that might bother, but I personally love it. Then this is that second piece where the little oddity on the side there, and then you have your little pieces. I mean, this does not even look like a scrap piece, guys. Like, everything looks intentional. I just love it. And look, it has like this really beautiful like 3D look down there. You can't see it on screen as well as you can in person. It turns out way prettier in person. All of these actually did. And then that is the back side, so you could go either way if you wanted to. Oh, I just love the colors. And then a whole piece, that's the back of the previous one, so you can kind of see. It has so much dimension in this. I can't decide which piece I like best. Let me know which one you like, 1, 2, or 3. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. Share this with whoever you want to share this with. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.